What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It is I, your host, Adam Perez, back once again, second time this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, as today we're set to go ahead and get into our spoiler-heavy review and discussion of Spider-Man No Way Home. That's right, the movie that's currently out from Marvel Studios that's crushing the box office right now, bringing in over $250+ million just domestically here in the States, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, ever since Thursday, huge turnout for the Thursday preview showing, wind up crashing sites the moment that tickets certainly went on sale, and for very, very good reason. And we're here to go ahead and break it all down for you guys. If you still have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, Stuart earlier this week did go ahead and put up a non-spoiler review for you guys. So definitely go ahead and check it out if you'd like to. But if you're here, I'm assuming you want to talk some Spider-Man No Way Home, ladies and gentlemen. And so remember, at the end of the day, these are just simply our A-plus opinions, but we also want to go ahead and know yours. So let us know your thoughts in regards to this particular movie in the live chat or the comment section box below. As it's not just myself. Oh no, coming back from A-plus Hero Report earlier this morning, Indy Uchiha's in the house. What's going on, Indy? Good to see you again today, man.
Wardrobe change. What's up, y'all?
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel like I'm like the dirty guy on the show. I'm still rocking what I wore earlier on today. I feel like
No, man, your hair slightly to the left this time. So you know
it is. It is like I don't know what's going on with the hair. I'm just over here like trying to do something with it. I don't know what's going on, but I did lay on it slightly, so maybe that's what's going on today, man. But good to see you in here. Let me go ahead and display our names in case you guys want to go ahead and find us over on social media. You certainly can. But again, last warning for you guys, spoiler warning. We will be getting into all the nitty gritty, pros, cons, surprises, highlights, talking about it thoroughly. So this is your last chance to back out. Last chance to back out. Let's see who is in this chat though with us. We got AJ in here as always, certainly coming through. Gabriel certainly in here also. Marcelino Vasquez as well.
Marcelino.
Yeah, we got Gabriel. Great movie. We got Marcelino, just saw the movie. It was pretty good. Said maybe next Spider-Man movie can be a Spider-Woman starring Daisy Ridley. I wouldn't mind seeing a
Go jump off a bridge.
Daisy Ridley. I wouldn't mind going to see Daisy Ridley over in Spider-Man World, to certainly say the least. We are streaming live over on our YouTube page, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Also streaming over on Facebook as well as Twitch, ladies and gentlemen. So feel free to throw in your questions and comments as we talk about this. But spoiler warning, guys. So let's go ahead and officially get into it.
This is the last time y'all gonna know. If you ain't seen the movie, leave now. Come back later or forever hold your peace.
Absolutely. You know, I gotta say, Indy, expectations were high for this movie coming in for sure. I always try and warn people to keep your expectations low. It is very rare that I think a movie can meet one's expectations, especially exceed expectations, when I think a lot of fans put a lot of pressure on Marvel in this movie to really do something special, right? And the fact that I think that they crushed expectations, I think really says something in regards to this movie. What do you think, though, in regards to it? I mean, met expectations, exceeded it. What do you think? I was just talking with AJ and Dattila, and I was just thinking of like missed opportunities, you know, that a big movie like this could have done that they didn't do. And I'm finding hard to find missed opportunities, with the exception of maybe one or two. But I feel like overall, what I wanted as a Spider-Man fan, they truly gave me in here. What do you think, though?
I honestly believe they gave some of everything. I think it exceeded expectations, and I really honestly think that the promotion for the movie was spot on. Remember how we always said they're leaking too much, they're leaking too much? Right. I think they tempered expectations to keep them at a certain level, so when certain events happened in the movie, here to go. We all know certain things were going to happen, and we were still surprised when it happened. Like my co-host on Lights Camera Action, he read the whole plot of the movie. Like he didn't care. He got tired. He didn't want to wait. He didn't care if he got spoiled. He just read the whole plot, went in and watched the movie, and was still surprised at the way, you know what I'm saying, it came across on screen, and was like, yo, this is good. Because if you can read a plot of a movie and then turn around and still go and be surprised and enjoy the movie, it was a good movie.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with you for sure. And I do want to give some props out there, you know, because of the fact that expectations are really high. You know, we don't do this very often around here, Indy, in regards to handing out awards. But I do think that it is something that should be mentioned in here, that we should be giving an award out in regards to one of the performers for this movie. It's rare these days that people can keep a secret. And so for me, I got to give the best liar of 2020-21 award to Andrew Garfield, man. I
Facts.
mean, this man did rounds of media, everybody asking this man question after question if he's in Spider-Man. There's a reason why he's such a great actor. I've never seen somebody vehemently deny themselves being in a movie so many times and actually be in a movie. And mind you, do a great job of hopefully keeping some people's expectations low so that when the moment does happen and he comes on screen, the crowd still goes crazy. So, Best Liar of 2021 award goes to Andrew Garfield, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a round of applause for doing his best, doing his best.
Definitely. Shouts out to him too and everything he was doing. I give Tom Holland all the credit in the world, because even with the teaser they dropped when they were watching the trailer, and he wanted to be like, "Where's the up?" And just
He
shut
felt
up
that.
the entire time. And he's just looking, and he's like, I don't know if, like, Kevin Feige had Professor X tap his mind or something like that to shut him up.
I
But
think he felt the breath on his neck because he reached back and he was like, "Oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't say
yeah,
anything."
yeah, and I got to give them credit too for him and Zendaya keeping their relationship, you know what I'm saying, quiet the whole entire time. That was like we didn't know what was happening. But Andrew Garfield did a great job. There were some good runner-ups, but man, all the press he did for the other stuff he was doing, being able to keep that quiet. Hey, hats off to you, man. And not just a cameo. To me, he had a prominent. To me, he stood out more than Mr. Tobey Maguire himself. Like almost like Sony wants to do something with Andrew Garfield.
Nah, I hope.
Are you sure?
Like I don't know. I don't know. I'm just, for me, um, I will say this. Even AJ say people cheered more for Andrew more than Toby. I think. Listen, I think because he's the first one that pops up. He's in the suit. You
I don't.
see the eyes through the alleyway as he comes through. People automatically kind of freak out. Toby was definitely more subtle for sure. I mean, he definitely held on to the more quieter aspects of Peter Parker in here. But I thought they both did their thing. And it is one of those things, going into this movie, I think some of us expected they'll be in the movie. But I mean, we're what, 5-minute cameo, 10-minute cameo, whatever. They may not
No,
even
they
have
had
their
that.
face on the screen.
No,
They
we're gonna give you a
utilize
half an hour.
yeah,
Half an
no,
hour.
they utilize them, and I thought that they utilized them just beautifully. And this does go back to the idea of missed opportunities. I honestly feel AJ says Toby's entrance broke me, man. Yeah, I get you, man. I get you. It definitely feels like just coming home to something familiar after all those years is what Toby Maguire really felt like. It felt like the mentor or like the master of all of them sort of like stepped into the room, like garnered that sort of respect. Andrew's always been that cool Peter Parker, so everybody's really on board with him, sort of thing. But Toby just brings that respect, I think, to the scene itself. But even really utilizing them well. And when it comes to the idea of missed opportunities, I think everything that I wanted to see between these three Spider-Men was well thought out and delivered on screen together. Like even just the little conversations they had in regards to, hey, what are some of the craziest villains that you've had, right? Like just the casual banter between the two, even the Andrew and Peter Parker, oh my, stretching out his back. Let me get your back for you, man. Like just the silliness, even the little TED talks and the self talks that they had between one another in
Bro.
regards to helping each other out. All the things you want to see these Spider-Man interact and do. It's like John Watts and Kevin Feige made sure they nailed it to make this truly come to life and be one of the best experiences.
Andrew acted extra emo when they were on the Statue of Liberty, when they were talking about
Oh
the villains
yeah.
they fought, and he was like, "Well, I fought an alien." He was like, "Yeah, I fought an alien." And then what's that? Tom was like, "I fought an alien and went to space and fought him." And then friggin' Andrew just sits down, was like, "I'm lame." Like just going into the emo thing. He's like, "No, you're not. You're great. You're incredible." Like them just making fun of themselves, knowing what what I'm saying, what their roles were, and understanding that it seems like they took every meme possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, and
Yes.
just put it out there. The scene that everybody talks about that shouldn't be in the movie, which I thought was hilarious. People are upset about the thing with Ned's mom. When she just when she's sitting there
Oh,
when they
I
come
see what you're
in and
saying.
she's talking to him in Spanish, like, could you get the cobweb in the corner? And they don't believe he's Spider, and he's like crawls around the corner and it cleans off the cobweb, and then it just drops down. Like stuff like that, I swear, is what you would see pulled right from the panel of a comic.
Mhm.
Like just randomness, random dopeness. And that is meant to be there. And that's why I felt like they connected with the casual fan and the comic fan, because Tom Holland, hands down, is Peter Parker, Spider-Man,
Mhm.
especially after this movie. This solidifies him as the Spider-Man. But to pay such a great homage to the other two, even the fake out at the end, just to do all of that was amazing to me, man. And watching this over and over and over,
4
uh
times, possibly
yeah,
a 5th this week.
no, it's going to be a fifth. I'm
Oh,
going
gonna be a 5th,
Tuesday.
okay.
Tickets are already bought. Um, it's very interesting to me how no matter how many times I watch it, it still affects me. You know what I'm saying? The same way. I know it's coming, and I still get a tear, or you know what I'm saying? I still chuckle. It's even look, and I want to apologize to Jamie Foxx, because I remember when you told me Electro was going to be in the movie, when we made the announcement, we were on here, and I poo-pooed all over, you know what I'm saying, Jamie Foxx Electro. He was so dope in this movie.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
He was so dope. Even when Tom took his, you know what I'm saying, took his mask off, and he was like, "Oh, you're Peter Parker, you're Spider-Man." He's like, "Well, I just thought you'd be black." You know what I'm saying? From from Queens,
He's
you
like,
know,
"Well,
I just thought you'd be black.
there gotta be a black Spider-Man out there
Spider-Man's
somewhere, right?"
that just messing with people's emotions like that was so dope.
Yeah, the one thing that I will say is, like, and you mentioned it, people want Amazing Spider-Man 3 now that they've seen Andrew back once again. I remember somebody posting on there, like, where were y'all guys when Spider-Man 2 dropped, right? Like, nobody fucking cared about Andrew then, right? Like, nobody wanted
Right.
another movie from him. Now, all of a sudden, everybody wants one. But for me, the reason why I shake my head and say, I hope not, is that because what you mentioned, that this movie paid such homage to what came sort of before it, and for me, this felt very much like an icing on the cake and sort of a conclusion to a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, giving him his final bow. Same thing with Andrew Garfield, in a sense. While we may not get a Spider-Man 3, at least I don't think that we will, I don't think we need one, for me personally, at least, after this movie, because it felt like this is the moment. Like, this is sort of the moment that it's meant to lead itself to. This is the bow for Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man once again, and really laying the groundwork for Tom Holland sort of the rest of the way. So this just felt very much like a bow on the present sort of thing, to really kind of kick off and their particular storyline sort of thing. So that's why I personally wouldn't
Yeah.
want one, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Or them just overtly calling Andrew Spider-Man amazing. Like it, like just
Yeah.
like no, you're amazing. Yes, you're amazing. No, I mean you're really amazing. Like just putting that out there. I'm like, there, I feel like honestly it's not going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if giving them so much screen time too was them testing, you know what I'm saying, the
100
reaction
for the
to
audience.
Andrew
Yeah.
Garfield, to see if that's something, because the minute the fans rule everything right now. If fans clamor for Andrew Garfield led, you know what I'm saying, Spider-Man movie, even if it's a conclusion to his trilogy and what's going on, for a fact that Sony's going to see dollars, and if people are going to turn up, you know what I'm saying, they're going to do it. And I have no issue with Sony going to make their own Spider-Man movie, a la without Marvel,
Right.
and then just saying, okay, we'll do these movies with you, with Tom Holland, and
I
then let
get
us
you.
go play in our sandbox over here. But I think what people are wanting is Tom Hardy, Andrew Garfield, you know what I'm saying, interaction. The
Mm.
problem with that is they're in two different places. Like Tom Holland didn't know a Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying, existed. So it's like, how would you make that happen unless Doctor Strange is going to screw everything up?
Well, I mean, I will say this, like I said, I don't feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities, but I felt like the Tom Hardy thing was, I mean, we did all that Tom Hardy stuff just so that we can get a dab of symbiote left here in the MCU, right? Like, we put that end credit scene towards the end of Venom 2 for him to pop up in the MCU, and then we take him back out of the MCU immediately in the
I
Spider-Man No Way Home and send him back.
I
Like,
don't think that, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I don't think that's the last you're gonna see of you know what I'm saying, Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock. I think the fact that he was a vigilante slash, you know what I'm saying, hero was going to be the issue, because I think they need a villain. And the part of the symbiote that left might be, you know what I'm saying, the one that garners the hate for Spider-Man. Because you got to
Oh,
remember
definitely. I was
us
just saying the only reason why I was bringing it up was because I think now that it at least puts Venom back into the Sony universe to where if they wanted to do that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man sort of thing,
exactly.
maybe that's something that they could pull if that's the direction that they wanted to go. But I think you could be right. I mean, it could be like, hey, let's also test this out, see how the audiences are. And like you said, in today's day and age, when fans ask for something, if they're loud enough, they may just get it. So we'll definitely end up seeing.
Yeah, it's no way in the world that Andrew Garfield should have more screen time than Tobey Maguire. I'm just being honest with you, and they did that for a reason. They literally brought, you know for a fact it's supposed to be Tobey. You know what I'm saying? That Spider-Man, that's the one that steps up. You know what I'm saying? Does everything. They gave Andrew everything in this movie.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Like from the great cameo interest, they let him be the one to come in full suit. You know what I'm saying? They let him be the one to do all the witty stuff. Be the one. Oh, I could do that. I could fix that. I can, you know what I'm saying, and pop off. They let him have all the dope lines. I was like, they got to be up to something.
They which I'm really glad that they and to a certain extent I'm kind of glad that they did. Again, I feel like this is Toby really standing back and understanding the people that kind of came before him, you know. I feel like he was definitely fully invested in this movie, but I do agree with you in the sense that Andrew did get some really great moments in here, especially getting the opportunity to finally redeem himself in this movie for the death of Gwen Stacy, right? I mean, we talked about that heavily when we saw the trailer for Spider-Man, and we see, you know, Tom Holland Spider-Man reaching out to try and save MJ, and people were like, "Oh, that's Andrew's, you know, hand," type of thing, sort of thing. So I love the idea that we see that it's Tom. Green Goblin comes in, but then it's Andrew that goes ahead and kind of saves the day. And the fact that he's looking at Zendaya's MJ and he starts kind of breaking down crying and becomes emotional, that kind of choked me up too, because I was so happy that he got to kind of redeem himself for somebody that he wind up losing in his films. I thought it was a great moment.
Yeah, definitely, man. Everything. Stewart didn't like the first part of the movie. He felt like, you know what I'm saying, moved a little. So I think what helped me through this movie is the fact that the night before I went to go watch it, I watched Far From Home. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? I watched we watched Homecoming and reviewed Homecoming again, and then I turned around and I watched Far From Home. So for me, it was like part one, part two, kind of like Infinity War Endgame. It picked right up. I mean, this was actually
yeah,
better
right
than
up.
what Endgame did, because it picked right up from where it left off. And to me, that was dope. And him watching him have to react to all this stuff happening in real time, other than them picking up where, you know what I'm saying, he's already been through all of this and now we're trying to catch up to where he's at now. I thought that was perfect. And they rolled right along in the action scenes. The him having to go through, I loved how they did it, how they led into it. Um how they led up to him going to see Doctor Strange. How Doctor Strange looked at him and was like, "You didn't contact the school, and the first thing you did was come here and have me erase people's memories." And then just look at him like disappointed. He was like, "I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry." And he was like, "No, it's sir." And you know what I'm saying? Just that was dope. The way they played Doctor Strange in the trailers, us thinking after watching What If that wasn't Doctor Strange.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But then understanding, yeah, he did go to dust. So he did, you know what I'm saying, like everybody else come back and have to catch up. You know what I'm saying? Everything's going on. That Wong is the sorcerer supreme. I was like, now that makes sense. While Wong is jumping around in all these movies all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, going here and there. Like everything just started to piece together. And the fact that the movie was so promoted on Doctor Strange being in it, and he was in less than a third of the movie.
Yeah, no, I will agree with that. To a certain extent, I do agree with Stewart to a certain extent. Like for me, I feel like this movie doesn't really start kicking into high gear until sort of that moment on the bridge. But even then, I feel like that's within the first what, 15, 20 minutes sort of thing, right? Maybe even first half an hour of the movie, because it doesn't. I feel like it doesn't really start kicking in until that bridge moment there. But I do like the character work, at least in what they did with Peter and with his identity being revealed, seeing how it's not only affecting him but also Ned along with MJ, right? Like the idea of
Bro, that
them
school
not
was
being able to,
shitty.
yeah, how them not being able to get into MIT, how everybody's like recording every little thing they do. I did get a chuckle at the shrine of Peter Parker and and the Spider-Man thing that they wanted to put. Don't mind him, he's a conspiracy theorist. Like I love the back and forth between those two. But
I love the
I
fact they
did,
brought them characters back. Like,
yeah, for real. That's for real. I really did love what they did with it. But I did like the character work and at least seeing just how his identity being revealed is not just affecting him, but truly everybody sort of in his life to even push him to go to that point of seeing Doctor Strange in here. So I can understand Stewart's position of maybe it was a little bit slow or difficult to try and get in because it is picking up right off where Far From Home is. But I appreciated the character work that wind up leading up until that bridge scene for sure.
yeah, the character work to me got me into it because it showed me where Peter was at, where he had a chance to be selfish.
Mhm.
And his character wouldn't allow him to be that. You know what I'm saying? Because he could have been selfish. Just send them all home. I don't care if they die. That would have been a quick movie.
That,
And
yeah, I was really surprised. I don't want to say I was surprised by his decision, but I was really fascinated to see where that decision was going to lead him, right? Because I guess as a having seen the previous Spider-Man movies, right? It doesn't really even cross my mind. Like, yeah, all these villains wind up dying. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And then to be able to see the onus of all of that sort of land into Tom Holland's lap, and he be the one that's like, you know what, I'm not really cool with that idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see how he felt about just the death of Mysterio, right? Definitely tried to hopefully have stopped that particular moment, but to realize, like, you know what, maybe these people don't necessarily have to die like they have certainly in the past. And that's not something that I think as a viewer I've really thought about before. So to kind of see his pushback to Doctor Strange, and mind you, the fact that we in this movie, we literally got a Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange sort of moment
Bro.
blew me away. And to see that Spidey won even blew me away even more. The way that they handled
And
that was
used his mind,
genius.
used his
Use
genius, because that's one thing that we forget is how smart Peter Parker is, and
all
for
the
him to be able
time.
to outthink because Doctor Strange is smart, but he's a surgeon. We all know how doctors is. They're smart in one thing. Then and Doctor Strange, to be honest with you, is still, though he's been with magic for a while, he's still new at what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? As far as some of his magic is going, he's just mastering a lot of the stuff that he's doing. And for Spider-Man to outthink him, oh, this is just geometry. I know this. And to put it together and to lock him up, it was really interesting to me. Even, and the fact that, I totally forgot that Tom Holland has no idea what spider sense is. And the fact that he's just now like learning, oh, the tingly sensation.
What
And the
was it?
whole,
Didn't Aunt May used to joke on him about that? Like your spider tingle? Isn't that what they
yeah,
call
she's
it?
like, don't call it spider tingle. and it's funny to me how even without his consciousness in his body, well, when he pushed him
It's
out, and then
still, yeah.
and the spider sense was still working, Doctor Strange's like, what's going on?
That was pretty
He's
trippy. I didn't know it could work like that. I really had no idea it could work like that. Shout out to Godzilla fan. He says that scene where the mirror dimension smashed in onto itself because of Peter was insane. Yeah, when he wind up like webbing stuff and it crashed all together and then it just came
yeah.
into, like, I was looking through like a not a telescope, what is it, a kaleidoscope or something. It was
Mhm.
super trippy. But I agree with you. It's the smarts of Peter Parker really showcase themselves in here. And one of the things that I've complained about and we've talked about on APlus Hero Report is the idea that I wish that they would showcase that side of Peter a little bit more because of the fact that he is literally genius level. This man can create stuff and think outside the box. And the fact that I feel like he's been so dependent on others, maybe Tony Stark technology and things like that too, the fact that now we get to see not only him, but even Andrew and Toby come in as they're like trying to figure out cures and put things together for everybody. I love the smarts that they showcase for Peter Parker in here and showing that he's more than just technology that's given to him, that he's more than capable of doing stuff on his own. And to be able to go ahead and beat Doctor Strange at his own plan, I fucking loved it, man. Absolutely love that scene.
Not even just the fact of beating Doctor Strange, but the fact that he did what none of the other Spider-Man could do, and he actually saved these villains in the end.
And that says
And
a lot.
not one or two, every single one. He saved them all. I was like, yo, and then the sacrifice. I don't even want to get in there yet, but the sacrifice that broke my damn heart, yo. Like knowing what he's gonna go through now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like that broke my heart. But him walking into the restaurant, the donut shop to see MJ, talking to her like finna fully, I love you, you know what I'm saying, break down, and then see the band-aid on her forehead and go, I can't put, you know what I'm saying? If I let her know who I am, she's always gonna be in danger.
Yeah, that's definitely the moment, and you hit that right on the head. That's the same thing I thought about when he saw the Band-Aid too. Was a case of the danger that certainly comes with sort of knowing who I am and certainly knowing my identity. That definitely is selfless of him.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
get there,
definitely get
Gabriel.
there, Gary. We'll definitely get there. Because Nathan even says, well, we basically kind of got like a sort of a soft reboot, and I definitely agree with that, especially when it comes to Ned and MJ no longer remembering who he is. This definitely does feel very much like a
No.
very much sort of like a new beginning, if you will. And I will be
Mhm.
fascinated to see how it's going to go going forward. Real quick though, because this movie, I think, not only brought the action and great storytelling and great characters, but it really did bring just the emotion. The death of Aunt May sort of pushing um he's I'm sorry, he's Marissa Tomei. Rest in peace, Aunt May. Moment of silence, please.
Everybody go watch The Wrestler in remembrance of Aunt May. Go watch The Wrestler right now. Well,
Moment
not
of
right now. Wait until we're done, then go watch.
yeah, moment of silence. All right, now coming back to it. I love the moment of seeing Peter on the roof by himself, really kind of in his head and stuff. And I think for me, one of my favorite scenes out of this entire movie is seeing Peter meet the other Peters for the first time. And then them coming down and talking to him about the losses, right? The idea, he says, you guys don't know what I'm going through.
That's what got me. Don't come down here and tell me you
Tell me
know how
what
I
you were
feel.
going, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah. I was like, oh, really? Okay. So and they do go into it, and I gotta tell you, man, it really choked me up. I don't know if I shed a tear, but it was coming, like it was all in my throat, man. Because you as viewers, what they've been through, the losses, and to be able to express that, and I think also express just seeing where it's taken them when we haven't been watching them, right? Like Andrew talking about how it pushed him to like a darker place that he wasn't comfortable with, right? Even the idea of Toby realizing and stuff, all the stuff that he had to certainly go through and how he had to get to the point to where he was because of the fact that, he wind up killing the guy, or at least he certainly looked at as it being his actions that killed the man, that killed his Uncle Ben, sort of thing. So I just thought it was just really telling and just great acting and performances from the other two Spideys to really just hit an emotional chord for me, and with the Tom Holland Peter Parker, just to show you how closely knit that they've all been through. And I can't remember who told me this, man. It might have been my friend Jonathan. He said Aunt May was the best Ben Parker or Uncle Ben or something of the series, sort of thing.
Live action, I'm talking live action, was the best. Like the way you watch her grow with him, and then everything she tried to instill into him is stuff you don't even see Uncle Ben do in the comics. Like
Right.
actually seeing that to be able to be developed and watching him go through that loss. Like you always see, oh, Uncle Ben was there, and Uncle Bill dies, and that's when, you know what I'm saying, Peter starts feeling the way he feels. No. And that, and when she looked at him, did she do it before she died or while she was dying? She did it when she was telling him that you have to save these people. With great
Mhm.
power comes great responsibility. As soon as she said that and said it the improper way, like they added extra words in it, I went, she's gonna die. I didn't expect it to be that soon after she said it. That's
Yeah.
what got me. I was like, oh, she's gonna die before the end of the movie. I'm cool with that. But then boom, it just happened. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, man. I was not expecting that. And consider the fact that we haven't had an Uncle Ben in this series. I think he's just maybe referenced once or twice. You know, when my friend Jonathan did mention that, it did give me chills a little bit because I'm like, fuck, that's kind of true, man. Like everything that, like you said, everything that she instilled within him. Yeah, Aunt May, definitely the best Uncle Ben that we've gotten in this entire
Nah.
Spider-Man franchise, man.
And
Incredible
and
stuff.
that was crazy. You thought it was Iron Man, and you got to think about the loss. Peter has probably Peter and Wanda are probably like 1 and 2 for the most loss somebody has had in the MCU, and to I don't understand how Wanda's even sane.
Oh,
You know
after
what I'm
everything
saying?
she's been through,
At
yeah.
everything she's been through, but watching Peter loses Uncle Ben, like Uncle Ben's already gone before. You know what I'm saying? Before we even get introduced to what's going on, Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? Like you lost Tony Stark. You basically lost Captain America. You know what I'm saying? Well, you lost your Aunt May. And to just have to deal with all of this. You know what I'm saying? And he's a senior in high school. He's not a grown ass man like Tony Stark was. Scarlet Witch is a grown, you know what I'm saying, a grown ass woman who's been through a lot. You feel they're an adult situation, they'll be able to handle it. This is a kid. This is a kid that has to come to grips with being a man. He's fresh out of high school and he has to go get his own apartment and stay alone because he has no other family. Mute, 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 mute.
I was in the little spoiler chat with Attila and AJ on the side, and going back to missed opportunities. I honestly did think that once we see Peter go into his apartment, I thought Homeboy would come around the corner asking for rent again from original Spider-Man. I thought he was gonna pop up in there asking him for his rent.
I was waiting on Spider-Gwen to pop out and be like, "Are you ready, Peter?" I'm like,
Ooh.
what the hell now? But I can see him like, no, I'm not ready. Go away. I want nothing to do with you right now. Like I wanted like a mid-credit scene with something like that when he goes, no, I'm not doing this.
Did you expect Aunt May to die in this movie? Were you feeling that it was going to happen, or is it something that's like before going into the movie? I did feel like as the movie progressed and she became more involved with what was going on, I had my suspicions, but I don't know if I went into this movie expecting Aunt May to die.
I'm gonna tell you, I went into the movie thinking it was gonna be one of 3 people. I thought it was gonna be Aunt May, Happy, or Toby.
Okay.
And those were the 3 that I felt that were gonna
They
draw
almost
the
got
most
me with the Toby.
emotion out the fan. You know what I'm saying? And get this. This is what they pulled on you. When's the last time you saw something like this happen? Endgame. They killed Black Widow and Tony Stark, right? You get to hear something that Peter had to deal with. You know what I'm saying? In that loss, he had to deal with that. Then you come here, he's gonna lose Aunt May, and then they fake like he's gonna lose Tobey Maguire, that he's gonna lose, you know what I'm saying, that Peter Parker. I'm like, this kid can't go through much more.
There was literally an audible gasp in the movie theater when Toby got stabbed from behind. We were like, "Oh my god!" Like
Oh,
it
bro,
was crazy.
I went Green Goblin's dead. I'm like, any instance of they're gonna save this guy, like I immediately went, Peter's finna kill him.
Yeah.
Like Tom Holland's Peter Parker is finna kill him. And then when Andrew threw him the cure, and he stabbed him with that cure hard as hell too. That wasn't.
I was surprised he didn't try and like do it a couple times, make sure that jab really got in there. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
like how hard he stabbed him with that cure. I'm like, okay, he probably deserved that, but I was like, that was like ruthless aggression with how hard he stabbed him with it. But
Absolutely, man.
we to be totally honest with you, and this one we see them leave off screen. We don't know if Toby's Spider-Man survived. We just know he went home.
Oh, I gotta think he survived. I mean, he homeboy had his arm around Andrew. They were smiling. They were happy. I
Hey,
gotta think he survived.
I done seen a lot of people die happy. Like Aunt May
Yeah,
was still
she
trying to,
yeah, she
you know
was
what I'm
trying to
saying,
push
be
through. Yeah.
happy and inspired. For all I know, like if Toby dies there, you know what I'm saying, not only does it affect Tom, but it affects Andrew too. And him being the elder statesman, he's got a whole, you know what I'm saying? He's got to stand up and be like, yeah, I'm okay. And then as soon as he get back to his world, oh, damn,
He just
you know,
collapses.
he just collapses.
Poor
Because
Toby, man.
the only thing holding him up is Andrew Garfield. So like when they transport it back, I'm like, did he just fall to the ground? I'm like, what happened? You can't leave me like this. I need to know what happened to Toby Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely, man. I will say this too. You know, that fight between Goblin and Spidey at the end was pretty freaking intense, man. Pretty on just a different level. And I mentioned this to you guys in the chat when we were talking the other day. You know, I had no idea going into this movie that like the Green Goblin would end up like the main villain of this movie. And you know, one of the things I think going into this new trilogy before we got into Spider-Man Homecoming, you know, we have already seen two different iterations of the Green Goblin already on screen from the first Spider-Man, also in Amazing Spider-Man 2, Homeboy winds up popping up, right? The idea
That was
of
Harry, right, in Spider-Man
Harry,
2, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The idea of using Green Goblin again just felt like overkill. You know, like we've kind of done this before in a sense, right? Like I can't imagine them doing it. But the idea, man, that they managed to not only redo Green Goblin, but also bring back William Dafoe, who already had an amazing emotional and just all-out brawl in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man with Toby originally, to then come back and also to show why you are like the main Spider-Man villain in all of comic books and franchise and things like that, to come in and have that same level of impact, if not more, in this particular movie than you did in previous iterations, to make it feel fresh and fierce and literally even more dangerous than we've seen him before. I got to give kudos to John Watts and just the team for being able to use Green Goblin a third time and make him that relevant and important and that fierce, man. I love the brawl that we wind up getting towards the end in this.
No, that was amazing, but the fact the lead that Peter 1 took the entire time of the fights, with him going, all right, this isn't working because we're all individual fighters. Like we're used to fighting by ourselves. I worked on a team before. I worked with the Avengers. The who? You guys don't have the Avengers where you're from? Like, well, I worked on the team before. Just follow, you know what I'm saying? Just follow my lead. Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3. And you know what I'm saying? And just going and again, the action that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying, got to be in compared to, you know what I'm saying, everybody else. I mean, he was in 50% of that fight scene was watching him, you know what I'm saying, fly around, do stuff, watching him save MJ, you know, and everything like that. Setting up for, and I think that was an out of sight, out of mind thing, because it made Toby's Spider-Man getting stabbed that much more impactful. You know what I'm saying? Because you felt like that shouldn't, you know what I'm saying, that shouldn't have happened. And him act, and I'm gonna be totally honest with you, he was struggling to hold that glider up from Peter 1.
Oh, from Peter. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
he was struggling. So
I love the fact too that there's no words being said in that scene. That it's literally just all eye contact between Toby and Tom Holland Spider-Man. Like it speaks volumes enough, right? Like Toby doesn't even have to say anything. He just looks at him and he immediately sort of understands. Yeah, Dattila said, I heard that William only agreed to come back if he did all his own stunts and fights. Yeah, he absolutely did. I think he even talked about that in the villains panel, sort of leading up to this with Alfred and Jamie. And I first off, I going back and rethinking about that panel, you know, Jamie mentions that just seeing Alfred and William and what they do in this particular movie, the fact that Norman, it's personal for him, you know? Like William Dafoe is an outstanding actor. And the fact that we get to see him revert back to sort of Norman Osborn that doesn't know where he's at, and then also play up the role of being still that psychotic version of Norman, playing along with everybody till he's able to get what he certainly wants, and then making it personal like that between, like, that's a Green Goblin move to the highest extent. And the fact that they managed to pull that off and to see William Dafoe's performance again solidifies him as one of the deadliest foes, still being able to make a character that's old feel new and fresh again, and just really take it to a whole nother level, man. So I'm so glad that they brought William Dafoe back, because there's just so much history that we know that they carried over into this movie, and they just did a fantastic job.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hashtag cure that ass.
The Tool says, I like how Norman was wearing traditional Green Goblin colors after he smashed the mask. That was pretty cool with the purple hoodie and stuff. I really wanted to see the classic Sam Raimi mask also too, but the features, and I think that goes a long way too. And I say this about, and not to make a side note to Power Rangers here, but I say this about Power Rangers and just Super Sentai in general. I love a villain where you can see their face. I'm not the biggest fan of villains that wear masks, because especially when you have such a great actor like William Dafoe, you need those expressions. You need to be able to emote and showcase your emotions in fantastic ways. And there's a reason why William Dafoe is such a damn good actor. So I'm really glad that they at least allowed him to at least show his face in here and not have to wear that mask.
No, that was one of the best things I thought about it. To me, that was more of them breaking, you know what I'm saying, that trends. I feel like they broke that mask on purpose to say something like, we want you to be able to see the expression of this character, because if he's in that mask most of the time, I don't think the character comes across the same way with the facial expressions and everything that he was having. Majority of the greatest actors can portray pure emotion without saying a word. And just like you said with the two Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying it's the emotion in their eyes, you know what I'm saying, it's how that going. It was the tear dropping down, you know what I'm saying, Aunt May's face, you know what I'm saying, as she was dying, as Peter had to leave. It's the look on Happy's face when Aunt May was breaking up with him. I still want to know the reason for that. I swear I'm so mad we got left without a reason.
Why she broke up with him?
Yeah.
I think she just wants to be a single woman, man. She talks about the idea that it was just a summer fling to her, you know.
That was more.
She's way too fine to be locked down, man. You know,
man, nah, bro. Happy's a good dude.
He is a good dude.
Put it this way. Put it this way. If it was Tony, she'd still be with Tony.
I mean, who knows? Maybe she's seeing Matt Murdock for all we know. Speaking of Matt Murdock, well, Charlie Cox is back, man.
She's not seeing anybody, no.
Yeah, that's true. Good old Charlie Cox is back, man. You know, they were hinting at the idea that he was going to be in this movie for such a long time. I think people were thinking the scene in the interrogation room was Charlie Cox, but that certainly wasn't the case. Homeboy literally came to Peter's defense at the apartment and showcased himself. I love the quick catching of the brick as it comes through the window, sort of thing. Like, how'd you do that? And you're blind. I'm kind of curious to know how you wind up doing that. But it was great to see Charlie Cox back. Confirmed that he is in the MCU officially. Kevin Feige even mentioned the idea previously. I think we talked about this last week or the week before, that Charlie Cox, next time you see him, he is going to be the Daredevil for the MCU. So big props to Kevin Feige for pulling the trigger on that.
Again, that I still feel like there's a reason Hawkeye aired the way it did around Spider-Man, so that 5th episode of Hawkeye could air before Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying, went. That was very important to me, because that was when we saw my boy Vinny, you know what I'm saying, get reintroduced as Kingpin in the 5th episode of Hawkeye. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched Hawkeye, I'm sorry.
And I'm expecting him to, I think he pops up in next week's episode.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna pop up in next week's episode, but I think next week's episode is going to be able to stress a lot more of the changes the world went through, because now they're not working around not trying to spoil Spider-Man. But it also makes sense, because in the movie, Spider-Man has everybody forget about him, so it makes sense why they make the White Widow, Yelena Belova, makes the comment about she wants to see the new, you know what I'm saying, Statue of Liberty, and she's talking about how somebody tried to, you know what I'm saying, destroy it, and we actually see them fighting on that Statue of Liberty.
She mentioned that in episode 5?
She mentioned that in episode 5.
Damn, I didn't catch that. I'm gonna have to go back and check that out.
Yeah, when she's sitting down talking to Kate Bishop, when they're eating the macaroni and they're talking about the things she wants to see.
She wants to go see, yeah.
Yeah, it was so slick, you know what I'm saying, the way it came out.
Okay.
And then you see them fighting on that version of the Statue of Liberty, holding the Captain America shield. And you watching them tear, you know what I'm saying, tear it down. You be like, oh, so this happened, you know what I'm saying, the fall or the summer or whatever, whenever this movie takes place. It looks like it's taking place around did they just start their senior year?
Yeah, he started the senior year, but I think by the end, because I think by the end of the movie, it's like winter time, because it was snowing then.
Yeah, so the movie ended in the winter, and then so sometime right after that, you're having Hawkeye pick up. So
Ah, good point.
that's
Damn,
crazy
that's
to
a
me.
good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Shit, that's right. Because Hawkeye is a Christmas movie, so that would line up absolutely perfectly. That's crazy, man. I'm glad you pointed that out to me. I might have to go back and rewatch
That,
episode 5 of Hawkeye now.
and that's one of the reasons why we were like, why are they pushing Hawkeye to the end when they started moving? Remember when they moved everything around, and
Moving
then why?
dates.
That's the reason why they moved the dates because Spider-Man moved.
Damn, that's so crazy to me. That's so crazy to me. It's all connected. It's all coming together. And I do think episode number 6 of Hawkeye winds up I think the writers mentioned the idea that this will confirm or deny like the Netflix storylines, whether or not they will in fact be in the MCU or if it's kind of connected in that light.
Bruh,
So we'll see.
if them Netflix storylines are in the MCU, just give me my friggin' season 3 of Luke Cage. I want to see Mob Boss Luke Cage. That's all I can care if it sucks. I just want to see Mob Boss Luke Cage. That's it.
I also want to say another scene in this movie that I kind of enjoyed, and talking to Datilla and AJ earlier, I kind of brought up this idea, um, Ned being the guy in the chair, and when they're hanging out trying to come up with all these cures and stuff, and they talk about like their best friends, right? Like if anybody else had best friends, and they really all mention the idea that their best friends have tried to kill them before in their past. And
Mm-hmm.
Ned's like, don't worry, I'm not going to try. I won't kill you, Peter, type of thing, right? I do wonder now that we've got Peter Parker, that they don't know necessarily who Peter is any longer, or at least doesn't know that he's Spider-Man. I am curious as to whether or not Ned and Spider-Man will continue to work together or not,
No.
and him not know who it is. But I do wonder if him not knowing Peter Parker, if that will lead Ned down to a different path, right? Like, I wonder if the importance of who Peter Parker is to Ned's life has kept him on a particular trajectory, sort of thing, right? Having an impact in his life and maybe not being in his life now. I am curious if this will eventually lead us to a Ned being a future hobgoblin or something like that in a future film.
Uh, yeah, and it also makes me think on do we not that Flash Thompson was an asshole when we first got introduced to him, and his relationship, you know what I'm saying, with Peter Parker and with everything's going on, so it made him kind of like a soft, jokey character. Does that character get reset and turned into something else? If are we going to have the Flash Thompson evil
Right. At
Venom?
some point in time.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That type of thing. Or is it just going to be the normal story, where I just don't buy that guy as, you know what I'm saying, the Flash
Yeah.
Thompson that
Right.
we
As a
need.
threat. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, he might
or
as well be named Topher Grace at this point.
basically he should be. He should be named Topher Grace. But it's going to be pretty interesting in what's going to go on, everything that go in this movie. That's the biggest thing. Are they done? Like I think Zendaya was only signed on, you know what I'm saying, for the 3 movies. I don't know what the guy who played Ned was signed on for. So are they done? You know what I'm saying? Is this the last we're going to see of them? Do we see Peter get his own Gwen Stacy? I mean, there's so many different
Mm.
ways that they can go with this with Peter, but the bigger thing is how everybody else is affected. This affects Doctor Strange. This affects how Endgame. Well, I don't know if it
This
affects.
affects all the Avengers,
I don't think it does because I think Spider-Man can still been a part of those events and them not know it was Peter Parker.
I
That
get you.
that's my
I get you.
so I don't think that changes anything like that, but it does change the relationships he has with these characters because Doctor Strange could have fought alongside Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying, during Endgame, but not know that was Peter Parker.
Absolutely. I totally get what you mean there. Right. Absolutely.
So Ned can still be helping Spider-Man, but not know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
And again, I think that's another reason why I was like, I wonder if there's a case of maybe there's a sense of Ned getting jealous. Maybe he gets tired of being the guy in the chair. Does he, would he have gotten to this point if he knew it was Peter this entire time, sort of thing? So
Right.
I am interested to see what they do. But you're right, we don't really know what they're going to do with Zendaya, and the actor that winds up playing Ned. I mean, the fact that he mentions in here that I promise I'm going to come back for you, sort of thing. I do wonder if at some point in time at the end of the trilogy and our next trilogy that we get, does he try and get back MJ? But I think you brought up a good question. Is this an opportunity for a Betty Brant or Gwen Stacy to now
Betty
kind of
Brant would
come
be
into
crazy.
Peter's life for a short period of time or something like that? It's going to be really interesting to see the direction that they go. But yeah, this very much felt like a great conclusion and also a great soft reboot to seeing where Peter's going to go from this particular moment on. And I am fascinated too with the symbiote that wind up sort of getting left behind. Two things that come to mind. I know Sony right now has intentions on doing a Kraven the Hunter movie.
Mhm.
When the black symbiote is introduced, at least to Peter, it is in regards, I believe, to Kraven's last hunt, in regards to when he's hunting him down. I am kind of curious if they plan on doing something creative like that with the Kraven movie and then allowing Peter to get the symbiote attached to him, or do they carry that storyline thread into say like a future Secret Wars movie or something? You know what I
That
mean?
that's what I'm thinking with Secret Invasion around the corner. You know what I'm
Well, not
saying?
even
I'm
Secret
thinking
Invasion, but like Secret Wars, because
no,
I know the Russo brothers have mentioned the idea of maybe coming back to the MCU if they tackle the
no,
Secret Wars storyline.
because Secret Invasion would lead to Secret Wars, and we still
I guess
have
that's true
that
too.
live action TV show coming up. So could it be something where we end up with a Secret Wars, we end up with a battle world, and everything's transported, and that's where the symbiote ends up getting attached? You know what I'm saying, to Peter? Could they go more comic booky? You know what I'm saying, with it when it goes on? This is they do this so much. Is Craven Michael Keaton's MJ's dad?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Michael Keaton in that world is the Vulture, which we didn't hear a hide and hint of at all in this movie.
No, we didn't. And now I'm thinking about it. Didn't we get Betty Brant in Homecoming? Wasn't that Betty?
Wasn't she doing the interview here, like in front of the school? Was that Betty Brant?
Oh, was that Betty? I think that might have been Betty. Oh, I'm sorry. It was Liz. Liz was the other
Well,
love interest of
yeah,
Peter in Homecoming.
but
That's who
was
it was.
that
But yeah, Betty was the one that Ned wind up dating.
outside?
She was the
Yeah,
reporter. Yeah,
yeah, outside the courthouse.
yeah.
So yeah, so all of this could lead to great things, because if that's the case, did Ned ever date, you know what I'm saying, Betty? Because he wouldn't have if Peter wasn't, you know what I'm saying, if Peter wasn't around. Because a lot of that came that he was upset that MJ and Peter had a relationship, so he went and found his own relationship because they broke up by the end of the summer. Type
Yeah,
thing.
definitely. Shout out Nova for being able to join this last minute here. I'm trying to think of what. Oh, I will say this. Um, for me, when it comes to John Watts, the fact that he was able to do a fantastic job with this movie, I got to say, I'm really thankful that he's going to be tackling Fantastic Four now. If you guys are not have not heard that news, Fantastic Four will be directed and I believe written by John Watts, certainly going forward. So I feel like Fantastic Four is in really good hands in regards to that, especially after what we've seen so far. Maybe the worries of all the Fantastic Four movies that we've had before in the past might certainly be squashed, hopefully, with John Watts certainly taking over.
Well, my thing is, I want to go ahead and jump into this, all right? Because we talked about the mid credit scene, right?
Yes, let's do that.
End credit scene, bruh.
I,
Or should I say teaser trailer? Because that's what that was. That wasn't an end credit scene. That was just a friggin' teaser trailer. That wasn't a tease. That was, we're gonna blow your load and give you everything. Now you have no idea what this movie is about.
yeah, I mean the fact that they showed us so much in that, this reminds me of getting the opportunity to see Captain America First Avenger in the movie theaters. When I went and saw that movie with my friends Jonathan and Mike, towards the very end of very end of that movie, they literally dropped the teaser for the Avengers and as the post credit scene. And I remember not even knowing what we were like, what the post credit scene was going to be, and I had no idea they were even going to give us a tease of the Avengers. This got me just as excited. Like I had no idea that they were going to go ahead and tease um into the multiverse of madness. I had no idea. But to be able to see, and you're right, they kind of showed almost everything in here, right? We got to see Wanda pop in here. They even had
that
America Chavez in here
bruh,
briefly that we get to see.
that Wanda thing totally went against everything we thought was gonna happen that was setting up, because he came in and was like, I'm here. And she was like, I knew you was going to come sooner or later. Look, I didn't mean to do it. I'm sorry about what happened over there. You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? And he's like, I didn't come to judge you, because the whole thing is Doctor Strange know he fucked up. That's the problem. He fucked up and he needs somebody that's more powerful than him to help him fix it. That's the problem. What do you know about the multiverse? I need your help because I don't know what I'm doing here.
I
And
mean, who's to say? Listen, we thought she was cool at the end of WandaVision, right? And then we
yeah,
see her in her cabin still fucking around with spells. So while she may be open to the idea of like, hey, I'm apologizing to you, Doctor Strange, she could still have ulterior motives, Indy.
bruh, with Shuma Garaf being there and the fact that he can manipulate her from, you know what I'm saying, outside the multiverse, uh she's jumping around with Doctor Strange and ends up getting closer to him where he could put a stronger hold on her, I could see something, you know what I'm saying, wild happen. But seeing America Chavez, like them not even going, we're not going to wait till the movie introduce her. Here you go, see her now. And then and
And
then
then
showing us Schumer. That was my thing. Like, bruh, just lay it out there like that.
I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that.
All that did was made me go, oh, he's not the main villain. He has something to do with what's going on, but it has to be something else going. You know, it has to be something bigger going on than this. So all Spider-Man did, and then come to find out that everything that happened in Spider-Man is being blamed on Doctor Strange because nobody remembers Peter Parker. So they're not going to remember, he's not going to remember doing that for Peter Parker because he's not going to remember him. So everything is Doctor Strange's fault. So to know that Spider-Man, and this had not, like we thought it had nothing to do with what happened with WandaVision or, you know what I'm saying, Loki and stuff like that. That was really Peter messing the spell up, but I still think it has something to do with the other things. You know what I'm saying?
It's probably a combination, a little bit of everything. And
Yeah,
I think they'll realize it once they dig a little bit deeper in regards to everything that's truly going on. And Gabriel says the trailer for Doctor Strange 2 basically 100% makes What If canon to the MCU. So What If just
yes.
isn't hypothetical series, it's actually canon. And I think that's what they've been laying out the groundwork for such a long time. I mean, I think they've mentioned that idea before that these Disney Plus series will actually mean something. And I think people probably dismissed it because of the fact that like, oh, it's animation, you know what I mean? But oh no, sir, no, we're getting ourselves a dark Doctor Strange in here
Not, not,
too,
not,
which I cannot wait for.
man. And the fact that introduction that they had was like the same introduction they had in the What If. You know what I'm saying? When they first come to each other, I'm like, look, yo, if this is just footage that they filmed to mess with us, and none of this is going to make it in the movie, I'm gonna be really upset because
Nah, man, you can't put that out there and not
they've
do
done
that.
that before where they showed us footage and it didn't even make the movie.
I mean, that's true, but a big moment like that, nah, man, that's definitely gonna be in the movie for
What
sure.
what if the fact that they just said Doctor Strange will return? What if that was just a live action? Get ready for What If season 2.
I mean, who knows? Possibly, possibly. So yeah, guys, if you have been sleeping on the What If and you just thought to yourself, oh, I can go ahead and kind of skip this. No, it actually feels like it's become very much necessary material to go ahead and watch. I mean, look, they've even mentioned the idea that they probably have plans on trying to bring maybe even like Agent Carter or Captain Carter to life at some point in time in a live iteration. If that's the case, you know, who's to say fucking Black Widow doesn't come back, right? Doesn't he say, hey, I've got a universe that might need you, sort of thing? Although I think we see the universe that she's put into to kind of fill a role. But wouldn't that be fucking crazy if Scarlett Johansson comes back to do another Black Widow
Well,
role in the
they
movie?
dropped her in a universe where
Yeah, she's
their
already
Black
there.
Widow had died. So it's like, is that our universe? Like, is there a Black Widow running around in space with Nick Fury that we don't know about right now? Like,
Yeah, bro.
bro,
They've laid the groundwork for so many crazy ass things. They truly have, man.
bro, and then Yelena, it just they're setting the groundwork for Young Avengers while at the same time introducing the multiverse so they can set up whatever else hell they want to set up. Because once you introduce a multiverse, you do whatever the hell you want to do, and can't nobody say, "Oh, that's not canon. It doesn't matter. We have a multiverse." And then they're setting up the stuff that's going on with space because a lot of people keep thinking that Shang-Chi is going to be a member of the Avengers, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think the fact that them looking at those rings and those rings possibly being celestial, you know what I'm saying, made, I think that's going to take him somewhere else, especially working with Wong. So I'm curious to see what's going to go on, man. I wholeheartedly love this movie, everything they did, and the fact that they were just able to just keep rolling the train. Like, all right, Spider-Man's over with, but guess what? Doctor Strange is coming back. So let me show y'all what y'all got to look forward to. And then roll that out. Now we're like, damn, we gotta wait that long.
I mean, Phase 4 is shaping up to be something incredible. I mean, Shang-Chi, No Way Home, just the looks of what Doctor Strange, Strange 2 certainly looks like in here. And we said this from APlus Hero Report. You know, I know a lot of people are harking and getting on Marvel's case and stuff, you know, teasing the idea that phase 4 is a phase bore and things like that. This is all building up, man. Like they are planting the seeds to everything. There definitely has to be some level of patience when it comes to this sort of thing, because the Infinity Saga is completely done. This is them really putting together the building blocks, introducing us to new characters, wrapping up potential storylines, and even pushing the story forward. So there's a lot of pieces certainly working behind the scenes. So give Marvel the chance and the opportunity to definitely tell the story that they certainly want to, and the payoff will definitely be there, man. If we've learned anything from the Infinity Saga, Marvel knows what they're doing. So let them certainly go ahead and tell the story that they definitely want to go ahead and do. Marcelino says, how did Peter control his astral projection like a pro? Question that never got explained. I think you probably mentioned it, the idea that you think it's just a spider sense that works the same way in regular form or astral, which I was not expecting at all.
He wasn't controlling the spot. He wasn't controlling his astral projection. His body was just reacting with the spider sense. That's just the body, because even when he's unconscious, his body, you know what I'm saying, still reacts from spider sense.
Pretty crazy stuff. Let me ask you, favorite moment of this movie? Do you have one? There's so many.
Man, it is a lot, yo. Jeez Louise.
Shout out to Alfred Molina too, who wind up coming through also in this movie. Absolutely loved him. I was really glad to see that we wind up getting the Doc Ock that wind up helping them out sort of at the end of the day. Like when he wakes up from his tentacles no longer controlling him, sort of thing. I thought that was just a really great moment, honestly. I'm really pleased with this movie, man. I can't gush about this movie enough. I was such a big fan of how they managed to put all of this together.
To be totally honest with you, my favorite part of this movie is probably one of the most looked over parts as not being important. It's literally when Peter goes to the food shelter when Aunt May calls him, and and you got Green Goblin sitting there. You know what I'm saying? But as Norman Osborn, and he's talking to him. It's just something about that dialogue coming across, and Aunt May talking to Peter like, yeah, he might not be in his right mind, but I don't think he's a bad person. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing. It was something about that interaction right there that it just stood out to me than everything else in the movie. Like I call back to that a lot when I'm thinking about the movie.
And I will say this too, you know, bringing back up the Norman Osborn stuff, it's some of the returning characters. The guy that plays Sandman in this movie, right? We get Sandman in this movie too, and at the end, we actually see his physical form. I don't necessarily think that they brought that actor back. Like those scenes and those shots looked eerily familiar to me. I really feel like they just took those shots directly out of Spider-Man 3 and superimposed them sort of into this movie, because he doesn't have a lot of screen time, like actual face time. But the moments that we've seen, I feel like if we were to go back and watch Spider-Man 3 again, there are the very similar scenes in there. That's how I think they handled it.
I don't know. He looked kind of bigger than what he was in Spot. You know what I'm saying? In Spot, but they could have visually done that. He looked like, you know what I'm saying, he weighed a little bit more in his human form than what he did before.
Because Homeboy didn't look like he aged like at all. And granted, we have great de-aging technology at this point. But there is like one shot of him when he's in the
Marissa Tomei is 57 years old.
That's true, but Marissa Tomei is also fine, and I don't think this guy. You know, I don't think this guy probably ages as well as she certainly does. But I don't know. I will be interested to see how they pulled off the Sandman thing, because I don't necessarily think they got everybody to come back.
What's his name? Ant-Man.
Paul Rudd. Yeah, he's
Paul Rudd.
Alien,
he's 50 something like that. Some of them do age. So Chadwick Boseman was a lot older than what we thought he was.
That's true too. I had no idea Chadwick was that old, honestly, either. So yeah, I definitely agree. Do we miss anything?
Yeah, Shadow did said, and he, you know what I'm saying, Shadow does, you know what I'm saying, movies, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. He said he think they reused Sandman and Lizard shots. A lot of them Lizard shots did look reused.
And that's why I think when it comes to the Sandman, I do think that some of those shots were reused also. But I think they used them extremely well, honestly. He said older than my dad, will looks fine as hell, yeah.
And I bet your dad will agree too.
But yeah, man, overall, man, absolutely love this movie. A plus. The cinema score for the audiences coming out of the theaters graded this movie an A plus. It's definitely not all just hype. Absolutely love this movie. So if you have been chilling with us during this whole entire spoiler review, you have still haven't seen the movie, go see this movie, guys. It's absolutely incredible.
It,
But
even
I,
the spoiler won't stop you from enjoying the movie. We could
oh,
spoil the entire
absolutely.
movie for you. You're still going to enjoy this movie.
Absolutely. The emotion was there, the action was there, the really truly wrapping up and paying homage to all the Spider-Man that came before. Like this for me, Indy, really again, it just goes back to what Marvel has always said, right? It's all connected. And now I feel like even more when I go back and watch these other Spider-Man films, I'm gonna look at them just a little bit differently, man. You know, knowing where they all lead up to and just the amazing ability that they had to go ahead and wrap up everybody's story, give everybody the screen time that they deserved, not really missing out on any opportunities when they had all three on screen, because it's like, how many more chances are we going to be able to get this moment? You know what I mean? So everything we want to do with these characters. And I thought they did an absolutely marvelous job. So kudos to Kevin Feige, kudos to John Watts, kudos to Andrew, Toby, Holland for keeping this all a secret despite all the leaks and all the fakes and everything that was certainly out there, man. Even despite that, and can you imagine, Indy, if we had not even known half this stuff, how much more impactful this movie certainly would have been for all of us to be able to still affect us that way? Says a lot in regards to how damn good this movie is. Where
Uh,
do you put this on your list of best Spider-Man movies? Did you tell me an A+
I
hero
told you
report?
this is number one.
This is number one
This is
for you
number one
too?
for me. This is number
Okay.
one. This is the best Spider-Man movie I've seen. You got Into the Spider-Verse 2, I think. I got it at 3, and then I got Spider-Man 2 at 2. So
Yeah, no,
it's
I'm with yours. I'm with yours. No Way
okay.
Home, Spider-Man
Spider-Man
2,
2, and then Into
Into
the
the
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse as of
Yeah.
right now. And you know, maybe it's a little bit unfair because of the fact that No Way Home really is kind of established on certainly what kind of came before it. So it kind of automatically gets that upper hand. But I think the idea of how big this moment was, all the strings that had to be pulled to make this work the way that it did, that alone and just the hardship of making this movie still good, right? Because this movie could have been complete shit, honestly, and they still managed to make it extremely compelling. That alone, just of all the obstacles and how big this moment was, definitely did it for me, man. So guys, certainly go ahead and let us know your thoughts. Spider-Man 4 is in active development according to Kevin Feige, which to me just means while it's certainly not in front of the cameras, they are at least planning on doing something going forward. So Spectacular Spider-Man, do you think that's the title? What do you think?
That might be, but I do from the suit. That's what I'm thinking it might be. But I do want to
Oh,
give a
that
shout out to
suit.
that
Oh,
suit and
woo.
the way that they did it, because the suit looks like it's inspired from Andrew and Toby's suits, and then he just took both their ideas and made his own.
This
That's what it looks like.
this felt like the most comic accurate one that I
Hmm.
think I
We
think
ever
we've gotten
had.
before, that we've ever had. It looks like they literally just ripped it
I'm
out of
I'm
the
talking
comic book,
I'm
man.
talking about animated anything. Like it looks like this looks like they paid some cosplayer and said, "Go make what we need," and then they came back and they delivered.
I thought it was absolutely great, man, to see the sewing machine, him having put it together and put it together himself, sort of thing. I still think Amazing Spider-Man 2 has some of the best swinging sequences, but to be able to end this during Christmas, snow falling, brand new start for Peter Parker and his life in general, it just makes you wonder what the future certainly is going to hold. And it looks
Okay.
bright, man. I cannot wait to see this
I
Spider-Man
can't
4.
wait. I love suit reveals, and we actually have more suit reveals coming because we have the Hawkeye and Kate Bishop new suit reveals coming in episode 6.
Ooh, looking forward to it, guys. So check it out Wednesday, Disney Plus series. Indy doing reviews for Hawkeye for you guys, also currently up on our YouTube channel. Certainly go ahead and check it out. But I think that's probably about to be it, guys. I think we really have dug into a little bit of everything. But listen, if there are things that you guys certainly want to go ahead and continue to talk about and
Oh,
discuss about this
hold on,
movie, go ahead.
hold on, hold on. We can't stop without mentioning this. Thank you so much. That is my favorite moment of the movie, because if they didn't take every meme that we ever laughed at and did that to the fullest, with them looking like when they see his web come out and they go, ooh, like they look disgusted at first. Like,
yeah.
How did you do that?
Does that come out of every pore, every hole of your body?
Yeah. like, does your body just generate that? Do you have to make it? It's like, don't make it. It's just natural, like breathing.
Oh my god,
that was funny. And then just looking at him thinking like, damn, I gotta make my shit the whole time.
right? He's like, I gotta do it. Oh my god.
I know Tom was like, I gotta make mine and like with high school recyclables. I gotta find stuff. And then like Andrew's like, I gotta do stuff, steal stuff from Oscorp to make it. And then freaking Toby's like, nope, body just does it. And then
does that come out of every hole of your body?
Yeah. And did
absolutely lovely.
Yeah, what they say? Do you ever have backup problems?
Yeah, do you have ever get a backup? Do you web? And that's what I'm saying, right? Like they tackled everything. Like I walked out of this movie not really wanting any more than what we got. Like everything that I truly wanted to see when it comes to them, whether they're self-talking, the 3 hugs sort of thing. It was incredible.
Before we get out of here, Marcelino, they did it when they were talking about the Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3. When they were trying to figure out, no, your Peter 1, it was a real quick thing, but you had to catch it. They did it, but they did it real quick.
It was great, man. Absolutely great. Knocked it out of the park with a lot of expectation behind this movie. The fact that they managed to not disappoint takes the cake, man. So absolutely, Hasbro, take notes for Power Rangers. Yeah, may never. It's definitely, look. You gotta earn this moment, and I think Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, what we've seen so far from the Tom Holland Spider-Man, all earned this particular epic moment. And I don't think it's hard to recapture.
And Hasbro can't afford Kevin Feige.
Exactly, or John Watts for that matter. So yeah, keep your hopes up though. Keep your hopes up though. But guys, listen. If there's other things that you guys certainly want to talk about when it comes to Spider-Man No Way Home, that's what the comment section is for, guys. Let's go ahead and continue discussions. If there's anything that we missed, anything you further want to go ahead and discuss and talk about, let your thoughts be known in the comment section below after this particular video goes off stream. But other than that, I think that's going to do it for us here today, guys. So we definitely will be back again. Remember, Hawkeye episode number 6 drops this week. And as we get other Marvel television shows and movies, we'll definitely be here to go ahead and review it for you guys. And remember, APlus Hero Report returns January 2nd, Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So certainly join us then. But any last words, Indy, before we go?
Man, if any of you guys are in the Chicagoland area, step out to Tequila Sports Lounge tonight. Catch me for Artist Appreciation Day. I'm getting some type of trophy award or something like that.
Nice, bro. Congrats.
And then you can catch my last performance of the year. It'll be my last performance probably until the summer. So you know what I'm saying? Take your time, come check that out. And you get to see my nerd mix and my my APlus gear that I got on under my hoodie, man.
Nice, man. Looking forward to it, bro. And in the meantime, if you guys want to follow us on social media, you can do so right here at APlus Opinions. Very active over on Twitter. Check us out over on our main Facebook page as well as over on Instagram. And definitely hit that subscribe button, guys, if you continue to love our content. But until next time, guys, do us a big favor. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.